going to go to sustainability section, yeah?
Okay.
So sustainability is something that's very close to our hearts. Yeah, we like a proper and efficiently working building. So maybe could you like tell us how do you incorporate sustainability in your designs, architectural designs? Maybe there are like some little fun facts.
Yeah, so sustainability is like, for me, it's about four things. It's saving energy. It's not just saving energy though. People think it's just saving energy, saving the environment, but it's saving energy, saving water, health and well-being, and efficiency. For me, they're the four main things. So first one, energy. So saving energy in the building, stuff like, if it's a hot climate like here, you keep the building cool, so you can put shading on the building on the outside to stop the sun hitting the building. Or you can, the type of glass you use is special double glazed glass. It's got a low E value, so the temperature difference from inside outside.
Some sort of insulation going on.
Yeah, so it keeps the temperature stable. So you use like less air conditioning and stuff. Once it's cool inside, it has less chance of getting warm from the outside. So there's some energy saving and stuff like that.
That's really nice. I'm sorry, we were building a house in Bweni, and when we were actually asking our architect, about the windows, if we get like thicker windows to make it a bit more cool inside and not hot when it's extremely hot outside. And then he was just looking at us like, huh? What is that? He didn't understand what we're talking about.
It's double,
we're like, you know what, never mind.
Double glazing.
Just put the normal glass.
Yeah, it's double glazing, because like the first project here was like one of the first buildings that had double glazing here. I said, let's use double glazing. No one was using it. It's expensive though.
Yeah.
And we used it, and it was the first LEED rated building in Tanzania. It's Leadership Energy Environmental Design. Got gold rating as well. And it really helped with the temperature difference. So there's that, and there's putting solar panels and making energy. The solar panels on the roof, they generated about 10% of the energy of the building, so that saves energy. Other things, different light fittings that save energy. That'll be on energy. Then on for water, saving water. Rainwater tank, and you can collect the rainwater and use that to water the plants.
Okay, yeah.
So I always incorporate a lot of gardens in the project, so use that water, save the plants, and also saving water. You can have fittings on the taps and showers that reduce the flow rate of the water, so you don't use too much water. It's called flush rates for toilets and flow rates for taps and showers, so less water comes out.
So doesn't flow directly, goes like little tiny sprinkles.
Yeah, so you use less water up. So that's a good tip for saving water. And then health and well-being is stuff like natural light, so people are healthy, and there's filters on the AC. Every occupied room has fresh air. Like some offices, some people have an office room in the basement car park, and there's no fresh air in there. They just don't even have a window. It's like dangerous because there's cars in there. You got exhaust. So some people live in a room, there's no window. They don't open the fresh air. Like there was one project up at staff room in the basement, but because there was no windows, you have a duct that puts fresh air into it. So every room should have some fresh air. So I said daylighting, and then there's views. This is health and well-being. Like really makes a difference. Like in an office, people work harder.
A bit relaxed environment. Yeah.
If it's a school, they work harder. If it's lots of light and air and things like that.
That's really important. Like a lot of people underestimate that.
Yeah, and the views. There should be views towards something that moves, like the sea or some trees or something like that. They're always and like the site on your project should have a certain percentage that's good. If it's green area, like some people, they take a site and they just put concrete everywhere, but
Oh,
You only do the part. You only put the paths and roads where needed. The rest of it, like all our projects, you make garden, put loads of garden everywhere, and it doesn't cost much for that. I don't know why they put road. I've seen houses. People show me here. They build a house.
Oh yeah, the whole compound has concrete all over.
Yeah,
Like what is
how
that?
many cars you got? You're gonna put all, yeah. You
I
just
really don't like that.
it's just. I saw one like there's a house here, and then they had the driveway come all the way to the front. Like put their cars at the front of the house. You don't need to just park there and put the and then the rest of it can all be your garden around the house. Just walk. Yeah. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
More open space. As well. And more naturally ventilation. Natural ventilation is good. That's going back to energy as well as health and well-being. That saves energy because you're not having air conditioning. So like for instance, some parts of the office or a mall or something, they may not have air conditioning. If you can design it in a way so you have the hot air come in and the cool air come in and the hot air go up and it flows. You know, like when you open a window here and you open a window there and the cool air goes through. If you do that to a building, then you don't need to put the air conditioning on and you don't using that much energy.
Okay.
It's also more healthy as well because you're not.
That's why it was pretty cool in here.
Yeah. I like this flat because you can open windows there there and there as well, so you get a nice breeze.
Nice.
And it's more healthy as well because you got natural. It's not air conditioning. It's not that healthy, is it? So, so that's health and well-being. And then the final one was efficiency, which is to do with money, really. Don't put stuff that's expensive there, really, on projects. And there's materials. Don't get it locally rather than far away. You're using up energy as well, getting materials that have to be imported and stuff. That's very difficult though, because Tanzania, everything has to be imported. Yeah. So it's basically not. I like design that's not over the top. It's kind of simple, basic. That you have to here. Efficiency is quite big in Tanzania, so that's quite important to me. So yeah, they're the 4 things really.
Okay, but that was something. That's nice, impressive. Another question was actually, I think you already talked about it, the Evoke Luminary office in Masaki, that won the LEED award. Yeah, if you could tell us about that project.
Yes, so it was the first LEED rated building in Tanzania, leadership, energy, environmental design. You basically, when you have a green building, you can get it rated. So people say, oh, you just pay money and get it rated, but you gotta get it rated. It's not the point.
The point is to make it actually.
How do you know it's a green building if it's not rated? I mean, how do you know someone's a lawyer if they're not past a rating? How do you know anything? I mean, anything can be a green building. Like you could just say it's a green building. If you've not got some, you need proof that it's a green building, don't you? So, and LEED is the most common rating system in the world. There's more buildings being rated with LEED than any other building in the world, so that's why I quite like it. So there's a big booklet of all the standards and stuff. It has like those 4 things like water, energy, and there's other ones like transport and location, all those things. Like there's lots of things you can do for LEED. You get points doing all these things like. Even if it's in a location near a bus stop, then you get points because you're saving energy. People are not
they don't have to walk
driving to work. They're using public transport. You put bicycle facilities in the building, so people encourages people to use bikes, things like that. So that project, it got gold rating, which is not the highest. There's rating, standard rating, which is passed, and there's silver, then there's gold, and then there's platinum. So that got gold, which is pretty good. And that's the first in Tanzania. Yeah. And that's we shaded it. So we had sunshades on the front of the building that kind of blocks the morning sun. And that used double glazing, and then the roofs kind of overhang a lot for shading.
Yeah, more shades.
And then cantilevers that shade the building. And there was an existing olive tree, and we kind of built around it. So
Oh, there's an olive tree.
yeah, and there's a cafe there as well around the area. So the cafe spills out onto that olive tree, and it's quite a big building.
Okay.
Quite a big olive tree.
That's really cool. I actually want to go check it out now.
Yeah, it's got lots of solar panels on the roof. And what else? Yeah, we did all those things I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
The saving water, things like that. There's a lot of garden there at the front as well. So yeah, that's... And the solar shades at the front were supposed to have this triangle shape. They kind of shade the sun at the right angle, and they also reflect the vibrant street, Haile Selassie Road as well. So it kind of reflected that. And then on the other street was Choli Road, and it had a diamond-shaped window shutting that off on that side.
So much thought has gone into this, design and sustainability.
Yeah, it's a lot of little details as well you think about.
Yeah. And funny thing, people just walk by like, oh, pretty building, that's it. And then the story behind it is actually so big.
It took about 2.5 years to build, I think, and worked on it maybe at least 6 months before it started building.
Okay, next question is about the emerging trends and innovation in architecture in terms of sustainability. Maybe you have any trends that you want to talk about that you like? Like, I was watching some videos on YouTube, geopolitics and all that, and they're talking about sustainable materials for building. So there's this person who was saying that they built they used wine corks as a building material because it's like cheap and sustainable. You don't have to cut the tree to get the cork. And then there's this building that was covered with algae. And the algae is used to generate energy for the building and the buildings that surround that area. Like, super impressive. Maybe you have something similar to that?
Well, I'm working on a school that's we're planning to make it made out of mud, but it's mostly single story. But there's all these sustainable stuff like that, and timber as well. But these are usually small buildings. They're not very big, and there's all this stuff going around. It's the latest trend. Mass timber is the latest one. They're building really tall buildings with timber. The structure's made of timber. It's kind of bullshit, I think.
Is that really sustainable? I mean, you have to cut trees, right, to get the timber?
Yeah, well, they get apparently the timbers from sustainable sources. That's another story. You can't just use timber. You got to make sure it comes from sustainable sources. But the higher you build, timber's not that strong, and you end up using more of it and engineer it so well, and it'll become more. And you end up buying so much. It becomes expensive. You know what I mean? Because you're using timber as opposed to using steel and concrete. And okay, you see it. It's like a trend. They're just doing it to show off. Oh, look, we got a timber building. They're spending all that money on it, and they could have made it a lot cheaply.
And how tall is the building? Like, how many floors?
They're doing tall ones now. There's like
12.
There's skyscrapers now in is it
What?
Finland? I think they're trying to build one in New York now.
Okay, is that
I don't know how many stories,
safe,
but and there's a big one in Zanzibar. Like
out of timber.
Yeah, it's like the first tall high-rise. They're going to build one here, but the thing is, I think you don't want to think, okay, we're going to make. It's the structure, you see. It's, the most important material in a building is usually by weight or by cost. So by weight and cost is usually the structure. So usually the columns and the beams, what holds it together, that's what costs the most. So they try to make that out of timber, but they usually end up putting loads of concrete in it anyway to make it work. So I think you got to think, okay, we can still make it, because everyone thinks concrete and steel is pretty bad for the environment, but I think you got to think, okay, we can make it out of concrete, but let's reduce the concrete or steel and then add some timber, not the other way around. Okay, let's try and make it
out of timber only.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So
it doesn't sound so good.
I know it's ambitious, but I don't. Yes, it's a trend. That's a trend at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.